Good. You know.
All right. Well, here's our first question. It's a 2004 Buick LaSabre overheating problems. Nice. Your mom has a Buick LaSabre?
LaSabre, yep.
She does?
Yeah.
Is it a LaSabre or a LaSabre?
It is a LaSabre.
Oh, it is? All right.
Yeah.
LaSabre just sounds way more fun. All right. A vehicle initially developed a small coolant leak.
Yeah.
It was in the area of the water pump, so the gasket was suspected. Ooh. Due to my crazy busy life and not having time right now to fix the car,
Ding, 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 ding.
I added a can of Bars liquid aluminum.
How
stop
crazy
lid.
and busy is it now?
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right, so he put some stop leak in there. This seemed to help for a couple days, but then my son was driving the car and it began to overheat. Upon further inspection, there was a crack in the larger coolant elbow. Why the hell does GM make them out of plastic when the aluminum ones cost me $12? Good question.
Because it should have never gotten that hot.
Yeah.
Answer.
Which was spraying coolant up onto the hood. Replace the elbows with aluminum ones. Replace the water pump and gasket. Refilled with coolant and drove around the block. But the car still overheats. All the way to the red line and the warning light coming on. We just replaced the thermostat. Still overheats. At this point, my suspects are A, air in the system, B, radiator clogged, C, heater core clogged. Is the coolant flow to the heater core in series or parallel with the coolant flow to the block? Good question. And D, blown head gasket. If anyone has any suggestions, your thoughts would be greatly appreciated. I'm not sure how to proceed with diagnostics. Thanks. Woo-wee! Well, you got a serious problem there, buddy. Unfortunately, and the fact that it's overheated and you've replaced the water pump and the hoses and you've refilled it with coolant and it still overheats, it really points towards blown head gasket. It really points towards blown head gasket.
I do want to say that those GM motors, in that Buick, are hard to bleed.
Okay. Hard to bleed air out of the system.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
they do have a bleeder
right.
on them. But what you're describing here is very unfortunate, especially because it just came from not just putting it in the repair shop for a day or two.
Yeah.
That's the part that kills me about this scenario, man. Is that and it kills me every time I see it, but we see it a lot.
Yeah.
It's not like it's like a weekly thing,
Yeah.
I think my car's leaking coolant. Oh, please bring it in immediately.
Yeah.
No, I think I need to go do some stuff today, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yes, I mean, there's a few things that just growing up, I think my dad just drilled into my head, and if it overheats, pull it over, man. Right away. That's it. Because like you're talking like a blown head gasket like that, and so
how many head gaskets have you done on those VWs?
Oh my gosh, dude! Like half of them that we owned, we did a head gasket on.
Yeah.
We could do them in our sleep, man.
Yeah.
But there was one hose on that car that was right down from the head down to the block, and it was just lined right against the heat of the motor.
Mm-hmm.
And then any oil that got on it, collected on it from the off-cover gasket, would just deteriorate the hose.
Yeah.
And that hose always inevitably failed on those cars, and it causes more head gasket failures than anything. But
so it's like the Dodge Grand Caravan with that lower pipe.
Yeah.
That rusts really bad.
It notoriously goes bad.
Yeah, the salt gets all up in there from the roads, if you live in some of the states with snow,
Yeah.
And, notorious gasket killer, just, killing them all day.
Yep. So, so back to the Buick LaSabre, to answer your question, could it be air in the system? Sure. That's always a possibility. Learn how to use the leader screw, learn the procedure for properly getting all the air out of the system, and do that first before you say the thing has a blown head gasket. But I would skip from there. I'd skip the radiator clogged, heater core clogged, and just jump right to the next test for the blown head gasket. because you just want to rule that out. If it's got a blown head gasket, forget about everything else. I mean, on a 2004 Buick LaSabre, you're gonna want to get an estimate on that. But so how does someone determine, Dave, if they have a blown head gasket? What can they do to check to see if they have a blown head gasket?
Well,
What are some telltale signs, first of all?
I want to say first that it can be really easy or very, very hard.
What could be very easy or very hard? Checking?
To see that it has a blown head gasket or to verify that it does.
Right.
Sometimes you can visually see it.
Okay.
Okay, you pop off the radiator cap and it's pumping out exhaust like it's coming out of the tailpipe, boy. It's just another tailpipe, for the car at that point. So that's number one indication you got a head gasket blown.
So just describe what you mean. So you pop off the radiator cap, and the engine is running.
And the engine's running.
And you see exhaust
fumes coming right out the radiator. And there is absolutely not a drop of coolant in the radiator.
Yeah.
You could fill it up with 2 gallons of water, and in 5 minutes all the water's gone, but it hasn't leaked out the bottom of the car.
Yeah.
You got a head gasket leak.
Okay.
You got like a head gasket leak. I could probably put my hand through. Oh,
oh man, this is going bad. This is not good.
Oh man. All right. Okay. So, Scott, we're having technical difficulties. Is what's going on right now? Okay. Let me talk a little more about the head gasket. So, there actually a way that we test for head gaskets is called a block tester. Another name for it is actually a hydrocarbon test as well. It's going to sense any the presence of hydrocarbon in what's coming out of the radiator. So you can usually get it at just any Napa or anything like that, but they don't always have them in stock. So the easy way you can do is just take it up to your local mechanic and say, hey, can you give me a price on a hydrocarbon test?
Sure.
And they should be able to do that.
And what it does is it just detects any exhaust fumes, like you said. Sometimes it's obvious that you can see exhaust coming out of the radiator.
Yeah.
If it's a really bad blown head gasket, it'll actually puff out. You can see it. You don't need a leak detector, but And then just a couple other things that we noted now. I always remember the telltale sign was water in the oil. So you pull the dipstick out, and it's creamy. It's kind of like chocolate milk. That's oil mixed thoroughly with water. And that indicates that you've got a blown head gasket.
But with that, we're talking about 2 different types of head gasket leaks and failures. Yeah. So you can have it. You can have a bunch of different ones.
Right.
You can have water to exhaust. You can have water to intake.
Yeah.
You can have water to oil.
Uh-huh.
You can have oil to exhaust, oil to intake, oil to depending on the make and model of the car. Oil out of the side of the block, water out of the side of the block. You can have cylinder to cylinder. That's a big one that not a lot of people check for, or think about when they think about head gasket leaks. Is cylinder to cylinder. The fire rings are fried.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't matter. I mean, if you got a head gasket leak, you got to replace the head gasket. But it's interesting to note the different ways it could fail.
Head gasket leak, cylinder to cylinder. It's going to pass a hydrocarbon test all day.
That's right.
That's true. And there is going to be no oil and water.
So if you happen to be the person who wrote this, if you're mechanically inclined, maybe if you did your own water pump, which sounds like you may have, you may be mechanically inclined. And if you want to proceed with your own tests, I would recommend getting the hydrocarbon tester or a compression tester which you can get for pretty cheap, and a leak down tester if you also have an air compressor.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit more.
Now you're
higher
talking about
level.
like a $500 investment.
Yeah,
here.
but you might have an air compressor. You never know.
Yeah.
A lot of people have them around the house, but I'm just saying, those look at these other things if you want to diagnose this on your own. You can look at a compression tester and a leak down tester, and that would help you pinpoint what kind of head gasket failure leak it has, whether it be cylinder to cylinder or cylinder to the oil system or coolant, that kind of thing. So hopefully that answers your question. We're going to post this online, and we'll post a link in the notes on the YouTube channel to this question.